spar with me and show them how it's done. Just like you did for Sean.
Yesterday!
Alright, can't say no to that enthusiasm. After 30 years of fighting, I'm flexible enough for any situation. Once I give you the tools, you can fight in the style that suits you best. But all those styles will have one thing in common: aggression. I'm not Ryu. Making decisions fast and turning up the heat's where I excel. We'll start with basic combos. If you know the basics already, skip to a timestamp for the harder stuff. Let's do this. Off light attacks, the default ender's Jinrai kicks. It works at any distance and keeps me in their face to set up for more pressure. Or I could kick them away. If I want damage instead, tatsu into shoryuken's the play. It only works if I'm up close, the distance of 2 jabs. Any farther and I'll be using a dragon punch instead. But let's be real, you want the good stuff. This is my target combo, Chinbuster. You're gonna see it a lot. The second hit allows me to use special moves, even running ones. Remember when I told you about the light tatsu combo for damage? Well, this does more. Once you're good enough to link a jab into Chinbuster, swap to it when you think you'll land a hit. I could do some insane corner carry. I guess I never told you about my run. I could dash forward and do enhanced versions of my moves for extra damage. This is a bit harder to start with, which is why I taught Sean to use normal specials first. I'm still not sure if that was a good idea or not. Haven't seen him around for a while. When I hit with a medium other than Chinbuster, my default ender's heavy tatsu. That's my favorite, but I can end in any special I want. Flexible. It's the same for my heavy attacks, but they could do enhanced specials just like Chinbuster can. Since they aren't launched into the air, I can take them halfway across the screen with the fire tatsu and get a mix-up right off the bat. It's kinda insane. That's all we need for now. We'll pick up a few more combos as we go, but I need to talk about landing hits in the first place. I may have a fireball, but the core of my strategy is to get up close and pressure them back. I like being just out of jab range and poking with my kicks. Counter hits are my specialty, so most of my moves cancel on hit. This style's what makes Jinrai kicks so good against mashers. They can't jab me out of the medium version when they're blocking. But on hit, it'll leave me with enough time to do a punch that counter hits anything they throw at me. Against some weaker fighters, you could literally loop this until they KO themselves. When they learn how to use drive impact, don't keep doing it. Against that, you'll need to stay loose so you can react. My punches are my safest pressure against drive impact spammers. This combo will teach them some respect. If you want to stay on the same side or keep inputs simple, use this one instead. When I have a level 3 to dump on their face, short and sweet actually does the most damage. Once they respect my counter punches, it'll give me time to grab or fake them out. That's called strike throw mix-up, and it's mind games all the way down. I can also use heavy dragonlash to reset pressure at any time. Strike throw's the main way I make damage happen, and it took me all the way to the World Championship. Life was so simple back then. To force them into my mix-ups, I use Drive Rush to get in. I could go directly into a grab, or do any of these moves to keep advantage and keep attacking. That means they have to guess for grab twice off of one rush. The odds aren't in their favor. That's the meat of it when it comes to standing pressure. So let me show you how to keep on them from the ground. I once fought this huge wrestler, and anytime I'd let up, he would do these ridiculously flamboyant moves on me. His defense was weak though, and he seemed to believe taking punches to the face counted as blocking. To stop him from grabbing me, I had to keep him busy. The simplest tactic is to use Drive Rush, same mix-up as before. If he presses something getting up, he gets comboed. I can also use Run and its follow-ups when I'm short on drive gauge. If you're wondering why I do a jab before running, it's to make sure I don't take off too early. When I want to bait out responses, just blocking works really well. People think I'll always commit once I'm running and expose themselves like amateurs. Against those types of fighters, safe jumps are God's gift to martial arts. With a safe jump setup, I could do an air attack and hold block at the same time. The kick will hit normally, but I'll block if they try an OD move or super. I have a safe jump after fire tatsu also, but it requires me to wait for a split second before jumping. You should assume this isn't safe unless you've done a lot of training and mastering. I could do a guaranteed safe jump out of any attack that drive cancels. It's much more reliable and still does some damage. Here's what it looks like when I start using everything we talked about. Alright, now that's offense. One more thing, if they ever burn out, I could bully them to the corner and get pretty reckless without worrying about drive impact. Make sure they pay for it. I have the best corner carry in the game, and the corners are where I start to run away with matches. The center of my corner offense is throw loops. These are what I'm gonna do to JP when I find him. I just take a tiny step before grabbing, and the throw beats all normal attacks. I can use a jab while holding forward to help time it. If you mistime the punch, press throw anyways. If I keep seeing counter hits, that means the opponent hasn't stopped trying to attack. A few combos will adjust their attitude. If he jumps, I get damage. If he backdashes, I get to go again. That leaves two options, and both lose to the same thing. I call it a shimmy. Pretend to move in for a throw, and then back up. That's for Nigel, asshole. I find it easier to manually time my attack as he stands, but if you do a jab into heavy punch, that'll also work as a medium counter hit mashers. This is my go-to combo for heavy counter hits. It's useful anywhere on the screen. Classic gets a bit more damage and an easier confirm with medium punch. If you bash them into the wall, you can use this instead. My last setup's a corner safe jump. OD Jinrai with a heavy ender. This is probably the easiest one since it combos off any normal attack. It's got good damage and is brain dead easy. I have to go to work soon, but before that, I'll show you a few ways to deal with enemy fighting styles. When I'm having trouble dealing with kicks, I can use a fireball like a shield to slip in. Simple and effective. Or I can use a heavy dragon slash. Alternating it with fireballs is kind of like a ranged mix-up, so they can't just anti-air without thinking. Which reminds me, when you get good at counter hits, you could start buffering inputs like the pros. Here, let me show you the secret to doing this properly. The goal isn't to hit them, it's to hit the space in front of them. You see me doing this low kick? Well, that's not all I'm doing. I'm also attempting a hard tatsu right after. If I move closer to them, this is what it looks like. But now I'm gonna eat dirt because they blocked it. That's the reason I aim for counter hits instead of the body. Cammy, throw a kick so I can show them. Boom! Thought she could touch me, and now she's fighting for her life in the corner. If you ever watch top fighters, you'll see them kick and air a lot. What they're doing is checking for fast attacks and drive rushes. Kimberly's teleport's another perfect example. When I throw these kicks, I'm also doing a dash or special move so that it goes off automatically when I hit them. That's how to fight like a pro. Another useful option is to punish slower moves with my level 1. It's pretty quick and has good range. The craziest part is it gets me out of the corner and dumps them in the hot seat instead. Level 2's even faster and catches some moves that are normally safe. Let's talk about zoners now. If they use fireballs to zone, I'll have to fight my way in, the same as everyone else. Or we can stare at each other all day. Apparently some people enjoy that more than fighting. That said, when I get to mid-range, there's a few gambles to take. The first is running behind an OD fireball to clear the way. It's expensive, so make sure you guess right. If I'm too far for that, I still get to force the fight up close. I'll have enough advantage to safely do medium moves. That's what flash kick is for. Didn't Julia tell you I solved this one? I have a riskier option to get in, and that's running Dragon Punch. The timing on this is tight, but with practice, it can punish predictable moves. On block, you'll be losing half your life, so don't use it unless you're 100% sure. one more style I have problems against, and that's my own. Ryu finds a new hole in my defense every time we fight. It's really annoying. There's one problem though, it leaves him wide open. Instead of trying to stop him in the air, I just walk away and attack him as he lands. If I'm on tilt and keep messing that up, the easiest solution's to just leave. Good men fight, great men run. But the next time we fought, he got even more annoying. He'd spam fireballs and wait for me to jump into a shoryuken. I'm not ashamed to say I ate a few of them. That's how I learned what I showed you earlier. I'll use an OD fireball to plow through and make him fight on my terms. Make sure your next combo ends in a safe jump, because those types of fighters always do invincible moves when they get up. Never give them a chance to use their gimmicks. If they do get a chance, jumping's a good way to punish most things you don't understand. Stick to medium kicks so you can hit both sides if you can't tell where they'll end up. The damage can be good too. Some fighters will just avoid my fireballs entirely. Against them, I like poking with my kicks from my run. If you do it too much, they'll start trying to counter hit, so make sure to watch out for those and cancel if you see them. In Marissa's case, she's very weak to lows and throws, so those are the best follow-ups. You've been holding back this entire time. I want to see the real Ken Masters. Okay, I'll show you some flashy stuff that does more damage, but if your goal's to win fights, you should practice everything else I've taught you first. That tickled. Hit me with a real punch. I think that's all I got time for. Put in some practice and maybe one day we can fight in the ring. And since you were filming all this, if you're gonna put it on YouTube or something, make sure everyone likes and subscribes. People need to know that I'm innocent. I don't want to be featured on a dead channel.